to use this. So we went in there, got rolling, and started recording episodes, and had a lot of fun with it. You name a topic, we've had a guest to cover it. But over the last 2 years, we've really kind of come back to our wheelhouse, which is wrestling and cross country and track and field. And in doing that, we kind of realized too that Flow and some of the other media outlets, they really focus on the Power Four and a lot of other schools and divisions and programs don't get any notoriety. And so we decided that we were going to focus on NAIA, Division III, Division II, JUCO, because Jimmy and I are both JUCO All-Americans. And
Awesome.
in doing that, we've been able to connect with a lot of cool people, a lot of amazing coaches that are working and building amazing programs. And yeah, we're just trying to shine the light on programs and coaches that we wish we kind of knew of when we were coming through the recruiting process. Because a lot of times, either your parents or maybe even your guidance counselors or maybe in your high school coaches, they may not know any better, or they might think they know what's in your best interest, and they may guide you one place where you might want to go somewhere else. So we're just trying to get the word out on all the colleges that are out there, because there's quite a few that a lot of people don't know about and a lot of cool places with a lot of unique majors. So
Yeah, you're definitely onto something there. On the same wavelength, that's why we have D3 Nation, no doubt about it. Were you guys all Americans in wrestling or track and field or what sport?
Jimmy was in wrestling, and I was a cross country runner up at the Division III cross country nationals in junior college for Ocean County College, and Jimmy wrestled for Mike Mal at Middlesex.
Oh wow, awesome. Very cool.
Yeah. Jim, was that a thumbs up? I'm
It
sorry.
was, sir.
Okay.
Take it away.
Thank you, sir. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Howdy and aloha. We are here, you are there, and we greatly appreciate you joining us this evening for another episode. Tonight we're going belly to belly, and we're going back to the Garden State. We were talking with Coach Anthony Bonaventura from Stevens Institute of Technology, one of the top minds in Division III wrestling. But before we get into it, before we get rolling, you know the drill. Smash that like button. Make sure you subscribe to Airey Bros Radio. Drop a comment. Every review, and share helps us grow and give back to the sports we love. Follow us on Instagram, YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcast. And as always, this episode is fueled by Black Sheep Endurance for all your ultra marathon and nutrition coaching needs. Let's not forget, while we're here to shine a light on the program's coaches and mentors we wish we had access to growing up. If you or someone you know is looking for the right fit at the next level, please share this episode with them. On to tonight's guest, Coach Anthony Bonaventura, from NCAA finalist at Waynesburg University to head coach at Stevens Institute of Technology, where they have won 5 region team championships under his leadership. In 2025 alone, they've had 12 Division III Scholar All-Americans, and he is also a podcaster. He hosts 2 podcasts, D3 Nation and Duck Insider. Without further ado, Coach Anthony Bonaventura, we do greatly appreciate your time. Thank you for joining us this evening. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. I appreciate the intro and having me on today. As you said, I definitely love doing podcasts and connecting with other shows and other people. And it's just a great way to connect with your community, with our program, right? With Duck Insider, that's really specific to Duck Wrestling, and then obviously a little more broader scale with D3 Nation. Love Division III Wrestling. Obviously was a athlete and now I've been a coach. So I've been in Division III for 15 years now. It's kind of wild, but I've enjoyed every second of it. So excited to talk Division III Wrestling and talk about Stevens Wrestling today.
Yeah, we are excited to talk as well. We are Jersey natives. We are Region 6 guys, Shore Conference alumni from Point Pleasant Borough. So whenever we can connect to promote New Jersey wrestling as well, we take a lot of pride in that. And even though we don't live in the state anymore, we are those people, those annoying people in different states that are very proud of the fact that they are from New Jersey. So we're excited to get into it with you. Before we do, if you have anything you would like to plug or promote, if there's any camps coming up at Stevens, any new podcasts that are coming out, or just the school and the team socials, the floor is yours.
Yeah, sure. So We're pretty easy to follow on socials. We are at Duck Wrestling. That is on X or Twitter, however you want to call it. Instagram and Facebook. So at Duck Wrestling. And then on Instagram and X, just at Coach Abon. That's my accounts on X and Instagram for that. So definitely post a lot on there. Definitely post a lot on Duck Wrestling. We're actually getting ready to roll out our incoming class, which I'm very excited about. Don't have a lot of camps coming up. We'll have some satellite clinics and stuff that we'll be promoting on our socials. We'll have a prospect day in August, kind of after Fargo, and when everything kind of dies down with the wrestling scene. A lot going on right now at the high school level with club duels, freestyle Greco. Fargo's coming up in July, so kind of wait for all that to finish up before we have our prospect day in August, and we'll promote that date when that's set. So anyone that's interested in Stevens Wrestling, I highly recommend checking out Stevens Wrestling. Come train with the Ducks. Come check out campus. Beautiful campus, as you can see it as my background. That's the campus view, located in Hoboken, New Jersey. We're NCAA Division III. And next Duck Insider podcast episode is probably going to be with my new assistant coach, currently on the hunt for my next assistant coach. So next Ducks Insider episode will be once we publicly announce who that assistant coach is going to be. So in the midst of that right now, staying busy, but definitely excited for the next steps with Duck Wrestling.
And we'll put all that stuff in the show notes for you. That is a beautiful backdrop, but from the reports I'm hearing from back home, it doesn't seem like you guys have been seeing the sun all too often regularly, have you?
We have not. We have not. It's been more like kind of like dull, musty fall weather, overcast. You didn't get that view today from campus, but the view never gets old, that's for sure. And definitely blessed and grateful for the area that we're in. It's what's such a great selling piece for this university.
Coach, probably the most important and controversial, possibly question we're going to ask you this evening. You know, you're not originally from New Jersey, but we'll claim you because you've been here long enough. Is it pork roll or Taylor ham for you?
Oh my goodness. I feel like, yeah, I guess I've been here for a decade now, so I guess I can jump in on this conversation. I say pork roll. I go pork
Oh,
roll.
even in Taylor ham territory, huh?
Yeah, even in Tellerham territory. And I never heard that term until I came to New Jersey because it was Taylorham back on Long Island where I grew up. But I like pork roll. I like the term, and it's that's what I'm about. So either way you slice it, it's good. So
That's right. That's right.
So, Coach, we like a little bit of through lines, try to make the world a little bit smaller. Obviously, we had your brother on, the head coach at Fairmont State, and he was educating us on the program there, and then doing the research, finding out you guys do a podcast together. So we will get into that, see if the Bonaventura brothers have had any epic arguments on the back end of the podcast, because the Airey Bros have had some epic ones. But you've been there for a decade now, and you started with Coach Favia, who
yep.
was the head coach. I grew up wrestling with him at Sure Thing. He was 2 years younger than me. He was
Okay.
he was one of my workout partners growing up, and then all of a sudden, his senior year, he had a great senior year, and the next thing I know, he's a two-time All-American at Stevens, and he was the head coach there for a while, and he did some epic things there. So, make the world
Yeah.
a little bit smaller. You got to spend some time with Joey.
Yeah, that's awesome. Small world, but that's what's great about the wrestling community, right? There's so many connections, and I wouldn't be sitting here right now if it wasn't for the wrestling community and the connections I had. Joe Favia was a great mentor to me. He gave me the opportunity to be his full-time assistant coach, and I just hit the ground running with that. And we were really working yin and yang. We had a great relationship. Definitely similar coaching styles, but also had our differences, which really flowed well. We really meshed well together, and we were just two guys, two young guys. I mean, honestly, when we joined forces, we were probably the youngest coaching staff in the country. He was a 2013 grad, and I was a 2014 grad from college, and then our first season of coaching together was the 2015, 2016 year. So there was only 1 year of coaching for both of us that we weren't coaching together. I coached a year at Waynesburg as a graduate assistant. after my 1 year at graduate assistant. And actually, funny story, Gennaro, he talked about his 5th year. So Gennaro was actually one of my first athletes. I got to coach my twin brother as a GA. So we had a lot more arguments during that coach athlete relationship, but that was really cool. And and then this opportunity came up, and this connection that I had with Coach Favia, mutual friend Danny Song from my hometown in Hauppauge. That was the connection that really brought everything together. So our relationship really started through training cycles that we kind of crossed paths with out in Iowa at the Naval Academy, and then it led to this, and we were able to do some really special things. And I'm looking to continue that trend. As he moved on to different professional opportunities, allowed me to take the step up. I took the reins and ready to keep this thing rolling.
So, Coach, we like to get into origin stories, but I can't just leave the fact that you coached your twin brother, his 5th year. Rich, 11 years older than me, we have that coaching experience as well. Rich has been known to break me off a time or two. I'm curious, how was that coaching your brother? Did he listen to you, or was it, hey, we're brothers, shut up? Like, how'd that go?
I think it just depended on the day, but there was definitely obviously some mutual respect. I kind of took a big leadership role with that Waynesburg program. I was a captain my last 2 years, so even when we were equals, right? As teammates, I had that leadership role that he was kind of looking up to me and how I was living my lifestyle and trying to accomplish the goals that I wanted to accomplish, which definitely helped, and it definitely helped as I stayed on staff at Waynesburg as young assistant coach, and kind of gained respect from my teammates right away in that coaching role. And at the end of the day, me and G, we are very similar. We're identical twins, right? He sometimes likes to stick with his ways, so getting him out of his old ways is tough sometimes. But he's grown a lot, and I really respect how he's grown as a coach and what he's doing, what he did at Waynesburg after I left, and what he's doing at Fairmont State. And for me, I think he is a perfect example of, like, yes, credentials are great, right? Like, you want to be national champ, you want to have a national champ All-American. He didn't get to do those things, but it just shows, like, you don't need to have those things to be a great coach. You have to care. You have to care for your athletes, and you have to love for your athletes. And I know he would do anything for his athletes, and that's why Fairmont State is doing the things they're doing. He's going to be a consistent force on that staff, and a voice of reason. And the kids love him. They'll wrestle anybody for him. So it's awesome to see how far he's come in his coaching career, where football was his main sport, right? I didn't even know if he was going to go the coaching route for wrestling, and now we're in the same profession, and it's cool to see how far he's come.
Were you a multi-sport athlete as well growing up?
Oh yeah, so he talked about it when he was on, but we won one of four boys. So my parents did everything they could to get us out of the house, and anything to get us out of the house, because that house became a wrestling mat. And so we were multi-sport: football, baseball, lacrosse, um, wrestling, obviously, but we did it all. And obviously for me, I knew pretty early on in my high school career, I wanted wrestling to be like my pathway to my career. Like, I wanted to coach, I wanted to teach, and that came from my parents. My parents were both educators and coaches on Long Island. My dad was a baseball coach, my mom was a gymnastics coach, and I liked the lifestyle that we lived. I thought for the family that we had a big family, and we lived a great lifestyle, and we were around sports all the time. I thought it was awesome, and I wanted to kind of replicate that for my family. And fell in love with college wrestling, fell in love with Division III, and that's why I ended up staying in the college ranks. The original plan was to be high school educator and coach, but now follow the trajectory of being a college coach, and in this great position I am right now.
Did you go to, you were an education major in college, I assume?
Yes,
What
that's
were you gonna,
correct.
what?
Mathematics.
Oh, a math guy.
mathematics.
So
Yep.
you handle the expense reports for the team?
I do. But I do so I do have a full-time assistant who he does handle his own expenses. So I handle my expenses, the full-time assistant handles his. I'm a big numbers guy, a big analytics guy. I love statistics. I love numbers just in general. And so that kind of led me to math. And I also have a pretty good memory, so it was easy to kind of remember a lot of the formulas and stuff for me. And it was just kind of a easy trait. I know math isn't the favorite for a lot of students, but numbers just came to me. So yeah, the original plan was high school math teacher and coach. And so I did that route, and so I have that in the back pocket. But like I said, I fell in love with college coaching. Division III wrestling has so much to offer. And I've been able to work myself up to really have an impact on not just Stevens wrestling, but Division III wrestling on the committees I serve. So right now, I currently serve as the NCAA Championships Committee chair for Division III wrestling. So that basically oversees the championships, so the regional championships and the national championships. We make sure they run smoothly and how we can do better. So I was part of the committee that helped increase the bracket expansion. We went from 18-man brackets to 21-man brackets, which was a huge win. And we're not slowing down as a committee. We want to continue to get more. We want to get more qualifiers. I think Division III deserves that. I think Division II wrestling deserves that. There's a lot of really good wrestlers out there that should have the opportunity to compete at the national level. It's just very, very hard to do when we get so big. We're at 130 teams and we're continuing to grow. Now, the biggest thing is, though, with these new teams, we need to see how they increase because it doesn't matter about the amount of teams for the listeners that don't know. It doesn't matter about the amount of teams. It matters how big the rock, like it all comes down to an individual because we're an individual sport. So it comes down to the individual wrestlers. And we're actually getting close to that ratio growing and potentially asking for now 24 wrestlers. But it all comes down to participation numbers and what the NCAA will look at those numbers, that ratio, and be like, okay, yes, we can ditch out the money because there's this many individuals that can qualify for the championships. I wish it was easy as yes or no, but there's things that have to continue to improve for us to get more, but we're working on it. And then I also serve on the rankings committee as well for the NWCA, and just like my brother does for the Division II ranks.
Yeah, we had Coach Matt Oliver on from Huntington College down in Alabama, and he was talking about we made a clip of it. He triggered a lot of people because he said that Division III is the hardest division in terms of qualification for the national tournament. And there's a lot of people that weren't happy with that when they responded. But to hear that you guys have got more entries to the nationals, bumping it up to 21 is pretty exciting.
But again, he's not wrong. It all comes down to numbers.
Yeah.
Statistically, with the amount of teams and individuals, which I think, again, how you clip it, right? Again, it's going to cause controversy, but statistically, it is the hardest with the amount of individual participants.
Well, Coach, running a podcast, sometimes you do things for clickbait. I definitely made a clickbait clip, and
It
it
was
worked.
intentional.
It worked. It worked. It got the attention that we wanted from it. Also, you mentioned being a math guy. We talked to the coach of Wheaton College, Coach Grunwald. He was a math guy, and he mentioned how it kind of helped him as a coach, just being more analytical and just being able to break things down. Because to be a really good math teacher, you have to break everything down in steps. Do you feel getting that education in math, being a math teacher, having that background helped you as a coach in the way you look at things as far as teaching wrestling and coaching wrestling?
Yeah, I think in general, just like he's not wrong for sure, but I think just the education route um is something that's great because at the end of the day, as a coach, we are educators. Our subject is wrestling. We're using wrestling to teach our team, our members of our team, how to be great at wrestling, but then also how to be great people, how to be successful, very, very successful in the 4 to 5 years that we have you, right? Be very, very elite, but then take those habits, those skills that you learn from the sport of wrestling and then put it into your professional career. And we want guys to go out as alumni and crush it for the next 40 to 50 years. This is a very small piece of their life, but it definitely allowed me to organize and structure my thoughts, practice planning, weekly, monthly, how we want to peak throughout the season, competitions coming up, like all the organizational stuff definitely helps with that background that I had. Yeah, that whole education system that I went through, I want to change it because it really allowed me to be a very organized person as a coach and how I operate and how I think. And again, like I said, the subject is wrestling, right? That's the sport we're using and we're trying to teach these guys. And there's no different as a teacher, right? Great teachers impact their students in ways outside the subject, right? I wanted to be a great math teacher, but it wouldn't be about them being great at math. It's about being great students, great people, when they leave my classroom, how they're going to impact the community, how they're going to impact anyone they're around. And it's no different with a Stevens wrestler. We want them to be selfless, to be servant leaders, to lead by example. And that's the same thing I want with anyone I'm surrounded by.
So when you hopped on, you mentioned that awesome background behind you, and also I see that little Stevens emblem up in the corner there, and that wasn't on the table. Like Rich said, we were junior college guys, and as much as I wanted to go spend some time in Hoboken, Stevens Institute of Technology was not going to be on the list, and we know you got to be pretty smart to go there. How do you kind of narrow that down as far as there's a lot of good wrestlers in the state of New Jersey and the surrounding areas, but your funnel is very narrow based on how hard it is to get in and the grades you need to have to get in there. So what are you looking for a wrestler or student athlete as far as getting them in there and kids that want to go there?
Yeah, so great question. I think with a university like this, there's pros and cons, right? Obviously, the biggest con or negative is like you can't just go to an event and see somebody you like, and be like, oh, I'm gonna recruit this kid hard and get him to Stevens. Anytime I'm talking to somebody, the first conversation is, can I get this kid accepted? Hey, how are your grades? What do you want to study? Right? Because again, this school, Stevens, is known as, I mean, we're a technology school, right? So we're known as a STEM school, but our business school has really, really blossomed. When I first got to Stevens, we were mainly engineering students and computer science majors with a couple of business, but now I would say we're more 50-50 split. So, I mean, I'm looking for student athletes that are really interested in business school, like going into the business world. We're in a great location, obviously, in Hoboken to really flourish in the business world. And then engineering, computer science, all those STEM schools, the engineering school. So kids that really want to be in the business school and the engineering school, we have a lot to offer that. So those are the two kind of main academic programs that I'm looking for in a student athlete, because those are the opportunities that we have here. Like, I'm not going to sell you on something that, we don't have, and again, same thing. There's nothing wrong, like you said, like Stevens is not for everybody. I understand that. There's no hard feelings. There's a lot of really good opportunities out there. But if you want to be an engineer, you want to work with computers, you want to work in the financial district, you want to be in business, like this should be at the top of your list, and the way I look at it, we kind of base this program like we wanted to become like the Cornell of Division III wrestling. That was what Joe Fabia talked to me about when we came in, and I truly believe that we have done that, and we got to continue to kind of elevate and keep ourselves at that level. But we want to be the best academic school in the country. We want to be the best wrestling program in the country on an annual basis. And our results have been great the last decade, and we want to, obviously replicate and exceed that, the next decade while I'm here. So you're not wrong. It's like it is a niche kind of student athlete you're looking for when it comes to the major. But luckily for us, we have a lot of really, really smart kids in New York, New Jersey, PA. That's mainly our roster that, know what we've been doing over here. They want to get a great education, want to get a great wrestling experience, and then they want to go make six figures when they graduate from school. So we have, our roster is going to be close to 40 to start the year. And we have a great incoming class, like I said in the beginning of the show. And then to kind of add to that, we're looking for a well-rounded student athlete. Like, you need to want to be the student part to be at a school like this and be successful. You can't skip classes, right? You can't take your academics lightly because then this place isn't for you because you're just going to drown, unfortunately. You got to really, really be invested in your academics. And then on top of that, you got to be really committed because we're a high level program. We want elite athletes if we want to continue to get to where we get to. Division III wrestling continues to raise the bar every single year. I mean, just look at the team race this past year with the national championship with a tie. There has been a tie at the NCAA championship since like the 1930s. So, there's a lot of schools closing the gap and trying to take out Augsburg and Wartburg. They're still the standard. The streak continues, but kudos to Johnson and Wales for getting the title this year. But we want Stevens to get back into the team trophy conversation and compete for titles. There's no doubt about it.
You mentioned that barrier of entry, and you have to go to class. Do you feel the barrier of entry, you don't really have to deal with kids who aren't students or not going to class because you gotta go to class to
Yes.
get in there?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean, definitely, as a coach, definitely grateful for the guys I have on this team and surrounded in this program because again, you don't really have to worry about putting out too many fires like on the social side because they can't be doing that, all right, or they're not going to be successful, right? They got to be dialed into their academics, they got to be dialed into what they're doing athletically. And again, the wrestling season, right? College wrestling season is a 2 semester sport. So like for most of the academic year, they're in season. Their day is structured pretty well, where like they can't really do a lot outside. And don't get me wrong, we're in a great area. Hoboken's fun. New York City is right here. These guys they're doing a lot to have fun socially as well. We have Greek life is very prevalent here on campus as well too. So like there's things to do socially to have fun, but like you got to be dialed in. Like this lifestyle it's not for everybody. And again, I make that very clear in the recruitment process. Like there's no secrets when kids get here to campus. Like, oh, I didn't know this was going to be hard. Like, no, you knew it was going to be tough to get into Stevens. And again, when it comes to acceptance, prior to COVID, just to throw numbers out there, when it came to talking to kids about test scores, SAT, they had to be at 1300 two part. They had to be or a 30 on their ACT, and they had to be a 3.5 or higher on their GPA. Those were the numbers we were looking at to be like, okay, like you can get accepted and then hopefully qualify for merit scholarship, financially, grants or whatever to get the price tag of this school down. So like I also understand like we offer a lot here. The school is expensive. I don't want kids to just get accepted. I want to make sure they can get accepted and get packaged financially to in position family wise and post career wise to be successful as well. So there's a lot of things that go into it. You have to have the family that can support a school like this. You have to have the kid that can qualify for merit scholarship and grants to really bring the tuition down. And then you have to have a pretty high level wrestler to kind of come in here and be successful. Those are the things we're looking for. Now we have been test optional like a lot of schools since COVID. This is the last cycle right now that we're test optional, and admissions has not made a decision yet. I think being test optional has been good. We've been able to bring in high level student athletes just based on transcripts. I think it's working out pretty well, but we'll see what the direction admissions wants to go after this recruitment cycle.
Coach, what's talking numbers and stuff? What's the tail of the tape in terms of student body for undergraduate? Are there mostly kids living off campus in dormitories? How about class sizes, those sorts of things?
Yeah, so we're 12-to-1 faculty ratio, so pretty much like a high school size classroom
I don't know where you
setting.
went to high school.
Fair enough, fair enough. But it's a smaller size. They'll have bigger lectures for the recitations where like all the calculus or all the physics will meet together to chat. And undergrad we're about 4,500, graduate we're about 4,500. Most of the traffic on campus is undergraduate enrollment. Graduate school is more at night, more international student base. But pretty much most of our guys live on campus for 1 year, and then they pair up as teammates, and they will live in apartments in Hoboken. Hoboken's only 1 square mile, so I mean you're living in Hoboken, but you're not really off campus. It's everything is pretty much 10, 15-minute walking distance. So a lot of our guys will live off campus in Hoboken. These big towers over here actually were just added in 2022. Those are all upperclassmen dormitories, so they do have the opportunity to live on campus. Great view, as you can tell,
Yeah.
with upper classes dorms. Those are UCC towers and great facility. They had about 500 beds on campus. And but I would say after 1 year, most of the guys are living in Hoboken and enjoying that lifestyle, and then walking on the campus. A lot of guys don't really have cars. You don't really need it with the public transportation as well.
Well, being in Hoboken and being in close proximity to some fun things in New York City, do you have to have that work life, school life balance conversation much in terms of being able to get done your schoolwork, get your academics taken care of, and be a wrestler? Or do you have to rein some people in being in Hoboken?
Mm, Again, not necessarily, because we're very specific of what we want to do as a
Yeah.
program. The vision is very specific and direct to the guys. You can't really waver. Our team culture is great. We have great team chemistry. So, if the guys are doing that, we just tell them like, hey, be smart and do it together. Like if you want to do something socially, stick together. When you have a lone wolf going out, that's when problems happen. But when these guys are sticking together and they can hold themselves accountable in the classroom, hold themselves accountable in the wrestling room, hold themselves accountable socially, keep the standards of the program in mind, good things happen. And that's again a continued reason why we continue to have a lot of success. These guys know what we want to do, and they stick to the plan. And again, yeah, you got to be firm sometimes. Remind them every year to start the year. We have a team meeting to talk about what we're talking about right now. But again, the foundation, the groundwork's there. So it's going to be exciting to see where we go these next few years. But there is a lot of distractions. There is a lot of distractions, and you can make you and again you can use that to your advantage to have fun, or it can be a hindrance. So we definitely want our guys to enjoy life and have a balanced lifestyle. That's the beauty of Division III, right? That's the beauty of the Division III wrestling experience. But there's also times to do that too, right? So that's basically it. You got essentially August when the guys get back to March. That's go time. That's time to train and get better, and kind of take a lot of stuff out of your life and really dial it in. And then you got 6 months to have that balanced lifestyle and to increase maybe your social habits. But again, to be a successful college wrestler, it comes down to time management. We have the guys here that are the ultimate time managers, and they find a way to make it all happen.
Being in a fun spot like Hoboken, do the guys stick around for the summertime? Or do they go
Yeah,
home?
it again depends on the student athlete. We do have a handful of guys that will train in Hoboken, and live in Hoboken, and they have internships either in Northern Jersey or New York City. So on a given year, 5 to 6 guys will be living in Hoboken. They have their leases starting in their apartment, so they take advantage of that. And again, it comes down to what the individual wants and what they want to make their experience, right? Some people want to go home, train at home, work an internship at home. That's fine. Some people want to just buy in and be in Hoboken, all year round, which is also fine. We've had kids from California on the team that, once they get here, they're here full time. So it just depends on what they want. And we have a good training system in place where guys can take advantage of that while they're here as well.
Anthony, you mentioned 15 years in Division Three, your love for Division Three, being on two committees. One thing I've learned from doing the podcast is the misconceptions, right? When I was in high school, it was, oh, you can't get a scholarship Division Three. I don't want to go there. Now, I got older. I went to school later in life for I call it my second college career. My first college career was wrestling. Second career, I was a student, and I learned as far as the price of college, and you're gonna unless you're a football player who's going to the NFL, you're probably gonna have to pay something in college. You're probably gonna have to take a loan out. What are some of the biggest misconceptions that you think about Division III that kids need to get educated on, parents need to get educated on?
Yeah, so I think there's two really big myths. One, like you just said, is the athletic scholarship. Division III athletics cannot give athletic scholarships, so it makes it the most expensive opportunities out there, and that's completely false. Now, again, that's why we really stress to, every camp and clinic I go to, the more you focus on your grades in the classroom, the more opportunity you're going to have at the college level. Because for Division III, there's plenty of opportunity to qualify for merit scholarships, qualify for grants at universities to get that tuition down, right? And I'm not even going to say on this podcast how much it costs to come to Stevens because that's not going to help me at all. But I'll tell you right now, the price tag is not what you're going to be paying to come to Stevens because you're going to be a high level student athlete. You're going to qualify for merit scholarship. You're going to qualify for grants. You have to apply in certain timelines to be more favorable as an applicant. So for us, we are unique in the sense we're not rolling admission. So like we're not still recruiting for seniors that just graduated. Like we've been done for a while. We really push our recruits to go into the early decision application lines. We have early decision one, early decision two, and early action. So I would say, make sure if you're looking at a high academic school, go into the earlier pools, whether it's here, whether it's NYU, whether it's WPI, Case Western, U Chicago. Those are some of the top premier Wesleyan, Washington, and Lee. If these are schools that you're interested in, don't wait till regular decision because you know what? Every high level student is going to make your application look a lot worse because all the kids that have perfect scores on their SATs, have perfect scores on their ACTs, have 4.0 GPAs, they can apply regular decision wherever. They can get in wherever. You want to look favorable. So for us, we try to get our top recruits, to look favorable and in admissions eyes to qualify for the most merit scholarship. So most of our guys are applying in November, January to get to one, our acceptance rate is better, and two, you're the first one when it comes to merit scholarship and qualifying for that financial aid. So make sure you're looking at application timelines and apply where you can get the most money, right? So you can get the price tags down of universities. Like don't look at the price tags and be like, this isn't an option because I'm telling you, there's no one on our team that's paying full freight to be here. Um, they're getting the price tag down and there's opportunities across. So again, there's money to be had, but again, you got to make sure you're doing what you're supposed to do in the classroom to qualify for that merit scholarship. Some schools like in-state kids more. Some schools like out-of-state kids more. Like I know, like for me, where I grew up in New York, right, the SUNY system is incredible. Like if you're an in-state New York wrestler, like you can go to a SUNY for very, very cheap, So it's like you got to do your research. But there's 130 opportunities out there in Division III, and I'm telling you, there's one that you could find a really, really good offer in if you do the right research. I mean, in Pennsylvania, you could throw a rock and you find another college wrestling program, right? When it comes to D2, Division III, Division I, obviously, but I mean, Pennsylvania is insane. Like we just added three new teams in Division III in Pennsylvania alone. So it's crazy. So I would say that's myth number one when it comes to the athletic scholarship piece. Yes, we can't give it athletic scholarship, but you can get a lot of opportunity, a lot of money through different scholarships, different grants. And then myth number two, which I was on another podcast recently, and there's a clip going around on Instagram of me talking about the competitiveness of Division III wrestling. A lot of people think that Division III wrestling isn't competitive because it's Division III athletics, and not just Division III wrestling. It's Division III athletics in general. Just don't are slept on, because it's D3. And I'm telling you right now, there is a lot of really, really high level Division III wrestlers, Division III student athletes all across the country that again the things I'm talking about, found an opportunity, cheap. They can continue their education, have a balanced lifestyle, and compete right away. And that's the beauty of Division III. You can find a program and compete right away. You can be the starter right away, wrestle 20 plus matches. Um, and I think Division III wrestling has elite level wrestlers. It's going to be exciting to see. There's a Division III wrestler. He's a three-time national champ from Wartburg. He's going to Iowa next year to be their 197 pounder, Masoma and Dean. So again, that's going to be exciting to see how Division III elite wrestles in the Big Ten and wrestles for Iowa. I'm excited to see that. But there's some really good level. I again, the the biggest difference is the depth, right? The depth in these athletic like D2, NAI, JUCO, like the depth, it's different, right? D1 is the pinnacle. I'm not saying that's not the case, but I'm saying if you want to be a national champ at the Division 3 level, if you want to place top three, you gotta be locked in, you gotta be ready to go because it is very competitive. It's very tough, and there's some great wrestling in Division 3.
Yeah, and across the board, like you said, and we cover track and field and cross country. And one thing that Rich likes to say all the time is the times don't lie. And if you look at the times that kids run Division III, they're competitive at any division. So across the board, Division III athletics are strong. Now, this year, I believe, was your first year as the head coach. You've been there since 2015. How was this year? How did it go for you?
Yeah, it went great. I mean, it's everything I wanted, right? To be a head coach at a premier program. And it took me 10 years, 1 year as a graduate assistant, 9 years here, to kind of take that step up. And I was very grateful for the opportunity to kind of take that role. So really appreciative of the athletic director, Russ Rogers, the president, the vice president of student affairs to put that trust in me that, there wasn't really a national search. It was, this is our guy. We want him to stay at Stevens. So I had a lot of confidence coming this year. And again, great mentorship from Joe Favia and other people in my life, my college coaches, just so many good people that prepared me for this. So I was ready to hit the ground running. And, we definitely hit some adversity this year. There was definitely some bumps in the road, right? It wasn't ideal. I mean, yes, we finished just inside the top 25 when it came to dual meet ranking. But we were 500. We wrestled probably a top five strength of schedule. We went 7-7 this year, which I think we could have done better, but we definitely had the injury bug this year. That was probably our biggest adversity. And again, something that I learned, it's like, hey, we need more depth. That's why we're bringing in 20 plus kids this year to add to the depth that we have. So the second half of the year, 2025, we were forfeiting a weight class, so like we were down 6-0. We knew that as a team going into dual meets. And what I loved was just the culture of this team and how they really bought in and they didn't care because I didn't care. I didn't care that we were down 6-0. We were going to compete hard every single match, win or lose those 9 matches that we were going to wrestle, we were going to put our best 9 guys out there and we were going to compete our butts off. And that's what we did every single time. And again, we wrestled some really tough teams. So going down 6-0, again, some really tough teams did not help us, but the fight and the grit was there the whole season. And I think the adversity that we had throughout the year allowed us to really kind of flourish in that postseason and be ready to go. We finally were healthy. Well, not fully healthy, but we had 9 of 10 weight classes at the regional championships year. Our 9 starters, and we were able to win an NCAA regional title without one weight. We went into it knowing we didn't have a point score, and again, those 9 guys didn't care. We wrestled our tails off and won an NCAA regional title, 5th straight time, and 6th time in the 10 years I've been here. So there's there was a lot to be had this year, and but from a practice planning and like organizational standpoint, being here at Stevens for the 9 years, it really allowed me to understand like what a season looks like here. Like I said, it's definitely a lifestyle and like a culture change. I remember that when I came from Waynesburg back here to New Jersey, but I already had a lot of things and boxes checked. I was able to bring in a great assistant coach, Ryan Monk, who again went on to pursue an opportunity at John Carroll University. He's now the women's associate head coach. So Coach Ryan Monk was great here. He was a great assistant coach for me for this season. Wish he was still here, but again, another professional opportunity came around, and excited to see what he does the rest of his coaching career. So again, a great coaching staff. Scott Del Vecchio is our part-time assistant coach here. Great for the lightweights. Obviously, New Jersey legend, South Plainfield, Murderers Row, Division I All-American. So again, he has a full-time job, but when he's here, his presence is known and having him around. So I've been surrounded by great people. They help elevate me. And again, really appreciative of the guys that already had a really good relationship with me. This graduating class of 10 guys really did a good job of being veteran leaders and stepping up this year and keeping the ship on course. It could have been derailed, with the injuries we had. We stay focused, and we were able to do some pretty special things in March, which at the end of the day is what we're trying to do.
Coach, do the guys get to utilize the NYRTC or the Edge in Hoboken and stop in and see our friend Dave Esposito at all?
Oh yeah, Espo's a great friend of this program. Fabia actually trained with Espo a little bit when he was here. We have alumni that are part of the Edge training system now, and it's a great facility. Our guys take full advantage of that in the off season. NYCRTC, Columbia just had a whole coaching staff change, and super appreciative that they opened the doors for our guys to train. So NYC, RTC, Rutgers, Scarlet Knights Wrestling Club, NJRTC, because we have some guys that go back home. And I can't be I can't say enough about the coaches here in New Jersey and how they want their programs to get better, and they allow our guys to train at those facilities and get better. So yeah, our guys are kind of all over New Jersey taking advantage of all those RTCs and making the most of it. No doubt about it.
Right on. And you mentioned you have some New York guys and some Pennsylvania guys and a good amount of Jersey guys. Is there a little bit of trash talking that goes down in the room in terms of what state is the most dominant state?
Yeah, I feel like we definitely have it more when it comes to Pennsylvania and New Jersey.
Yeah.
I feel like, and again, I'm a fellow New Yorker too. Grew up in the New York wrestling system. I feel like New York has kind of waved the white flag in that regard, because I think New Jersey and Pennsylvania are just very very high level and doing it. But yeah, so the PA in New Jersey debate can get pretty heated. And I think both sides have good arguments. For myself, I think Pennsylvania has the most depth. And I think again, when it comes to elite, I mean, I love New Jersey. Like, I look forward to going down to recruit at the New Jersey State tournament every single year. It is so cool. Boardwalk Hall, I mean, Atlantic City could be a little nicer in some spots, but but Boardwalk Hall is a great venue,
Yeah.
and that state tournament, man, the one division, it's epic. It's one of the best events to go to, if you're a wrestling fan. Like, there's no question about it. New Jersey loves wrestling, and it is also why it's like pretty cool to be in this state and have a high level program, to get some great wrestlers here, to continue to elevate the program. But it is great. But like I said, I think Pennsylvania just has more depth across the board. But I think, I mean, I would love to see the top team in New Jersey and the top team in PA wrestle each other every single year. I think it would be a heck of a dual meet.
Yeah, no doubt. Talking about the 2026 season, going down to the New Jersey State tournament to do your recruiting. Mentioned you're trying to get a bunch of guys on the roster to have that depth. Who are some of the key recruits that we should be looking for in the 2026 season?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of I put a post out on our social media. So right now we are 20 plus, and that's across 6 different states. So we have a kid from Colorado coming in, multiple time state qualifier, Sid Dillon. We have a multiple-time state finalist from Louisiana and Sawyer Pugh. We also have Massachusetts and Connecticut. Cole Griner was New England placer and national prep qualifier and really good. Dominic Marinelli from North Hurton School. Those are the out-of-state kids. And then we have kids, state qualifiers and all state play and state placers, all kind of all throughout New Jersey. James McGinty from Parsippany Hills, he took, I believe, eighth this year. And he'll be coming in at 125. We have a multiple time state qualifier in Charlie Piccione from Warren Hills. He'll also throw his hat in the ring for 125. Another state qualifier from Lacey and Brandon Schuler. So we really kind of reloaded 125 and 133. State qualifier Gabriel Hargrove. I've mentioned Marinelli. He'll be competing at 33. Rafael Fonte from Mendham. So we definitely have a lot coming in those lightweights. State qualifier up top in Noah Berlin Langston. So you look across our 10 weight classes, we're going to potentially have a new face at most of them. We return a three-time All-American in Ryan Smith from Brook Memorial, short thing guy. And he's been really excited to see him continue to take the next step up in his leadership role. He's been great for us, obviously, to place the national tournament three times. Is an crazy good honor, and he's looking to win a national title next year. The highest he's ever finished at the national tournament is sixth, but he is a two-time conference champ, three-time regional champ, three-time All-American. He'll probably be ranked top four, top five at 157 next year. So having him in the lineup will be great. And now again, we have some returners on the team too. I don't want to talk about all these new guys. We do have some returners that were behind some we had six national qualifiers this past year. So six of the best guys in Division III were on this team. And so a lot of those guys are graduating, right? Ryan Smith's coming back, but a lot's leaving out of that national team. So there's guys, returners that were behind some really, really high individuals at, 149, 141, 165, 74. So I'm excited to see who, as returner, is doing what they're supposed to be doing this summer and taking the next step up. We're going to have incredible battles in the room next year. And I might not know what my best lineup is until we get to the regional tournament, which I'm excited for.
Coach, you mentioned having six national qualifiers this year. You had Ryan Smith, who's coming back. He's been a three-time All-American. Do you feel that when guys leave your program, that they're gonna do well in the real world just based on the academic load, being able to compete at the highest level, that you have no as far as fears that, oh, is this kid gonna be all right in the real world? Like that this kid is gonna be successful no matter what he does?
Yeah, I think guys leaving this program, I think if you can have a lot of success at a school like this, I have all the confidence in the world that these guys are going to go out and dominate the workforce. They're not going to be ready for the pace and the lifestyle that these guys are bringing, and that's why they're going to work up the ranks very, very quickly at whatever professional jobs they're getting. You know, the school itself, does an amazing job across the board. When you're graduating from Stevens, 96% job placement and graduation rate. So graduation rate, 96%, they're either getting a full-time job or they're going to their full-time masters. So pretty much if you're graduating from Stevens, you have, close to a six-figure job locked up, or you're going for your doctorate, or you're going for your master's. And that's our entire graduating class. I think the graduate outcomes from 2024, the median starting salary for a graduate from Stevens was about $87,000. And that's right out of college. So like when it comes to rankings, we're one of the best schools when it comes to return on investment based on starting salary. And I'm sure now with the next class, this class coming up, and we get those numbers, it'll continue to rise and maybe be in the 90,000s. So yeah, guys are locking in jobs before like the season even starts. Like their internships become their first time jobs and they're ready to roll. So I know those six guys, but again, those 10 guys graduating when they leave a school like this and the lifestyle they have to live to be successful, they're going to be ready to go and dominate the workforce.
Anthony, like Rich told you before we logged on, we do this podcast for our younger selves because we didn't know the questions to ask coaches. Now, my mom, she was a principal, so when we went on trips and stuff, she was asking questions. If it didn't have anything to do with being on the mat, I really didn't care. But that fact that you just threw at us, 96%, any potential recruits listening, that's a big deal. You want to ask coaches that. You want to know that, hey, 96% of kids are getting hired and they're starting at 80 grand or higher. Yeah, you might have some student loans, but you're going to be able to pay them off pretty quick.
Yep.
And getting a job before you actually walk out of the doors of a school, that's a big deal. So just anyone listening to this podcast, if that didn't concern being on the mat, just know that's a question you should ask and a reason why you should look at Stevens Institute.
Yeah, I again, very, very good point. Another thing I think you should look at from a college standpoint is retention. How often, what's the retention rate at this school? And a school like Stevens, right? Like if it's not going to be 100% retention when it comes to wrestling, but I'm telling you, you come to a school like Stevens, and even if the wrestling piece goes away, you're not leaving a school like Stevens. Like kids don't transfer out here. Once you're here, and you're going to get a great education. And again, like I said, it's not 100%, but we have a very, very good retention rate. Every single student athlete on our program matters. We want to make sure that they are successful, that they're doing the right things. And for us, right, when it comes back to the vision of this program being the best academic and athletic program in the country, right? We had 12 Scholar All-Americans this year, right? You can only have 10 starters, and we didn't even have 10 starters at the end of the year. We only had nine, but we had 12 Scholar All-Americans. So we have backups on this team that are winning close to 70% of their matches, having over a 3.2 GPA, right? And being very, very successful. So like if you're not a starter, if you're not starting this team, your goal is to be a Scholar All-American because that's going to go a long way on your resume. And we have guys that are multiple time Scholar All-Americans, and that's a huge goal for this program. Our team GPA this year, we were one of three teams in Division III to finish in the top 20 athletically. Right, we finished 18th in the country with two All-Americans and six national qualifiers, but we finished 10th in the country with our academic GPA of a 3.713. So it is crazy impressive what these guys are doing. But again, it comes down to what the guys are buying into. They're really coachable. They're listening to what we're telling them to do. They're balancing their lifestyle. And for me, I think there's an incredible correlation with high academics and high level wrestling. Because again, it comes down to lifestyle, right? If you're not doing the right things, you're gonna fail in your class. If you're not doing the right things, you're gonna fall foul on your face on the mat. Like it's just part of it. So you got to have everything in line, everything balanced to be successful. And I think that's again why we continue to preach it and have good results here.
Coach, that Scholar All-American, again, wasn't something that I cared about as a wrestler, but then my second life, I realized how impressive that is. So kudos to you and kudos to your guys.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm real proud of them, and definitely always inspired to see how far these guys go every single year. And again, just excited to get more guys to accomplish that goal and accomplish what they want to do on the mat.
Go Ducks.
Heck yeah. Quack quack, go Ducks.
Did the guy still get the Ducks tattoo?
No, no,
No.
no, no, no Ducks tattoo, but some guys wear duck socks. So
All right. Because back in my day, I spent some time at Sling and Ink Tattoo, and there was a whole recruit. It was actually Chuck Fava when he was at Stevens. A bunch of the guys that were on the team
okay.
with him, they were getting the duck tattoo, and I walked in. I'm like, "What are you guys doing here?" And they were getting the duck tattoo. Final four,
Yeah.
Rich.
Let's do it.
All right, Coach. Are you a coffee drinker?
I am a coffee drinker thanks to my wife. She was a big advocate for coffee. I never really drink caffeine when I was in college. If anything, more energy drinks. But now coffee for sure. Definitely like it a little bit sweeter, more of a latte guy, but I do enjoy coffee.
How do you brew it?
A lot of different ways, actually. We have a Keurig in the office. We do pour over at home when we have time. I have two little kids, so sometimes you don't have time for a pour over. Nespresso, uh, yeah, just a lot of different ways to make it work. But we find a way.
Do you have any fancy coffee shops in Hoboken that you venture to?
Oh yeah, plenty of Italian delis and coffee shops, that's for sure. I like one right off campus. It's called Mojo. You also have the Starbucks or whatever, but there's Jefferson Coffee. Honestly, if you want the biggest debate, talk to our team about who has the best pizza and who has the best coffee in Hoboken, and I'm telling you, you'll talk to my team for an hour.
I like
So.
it. That's right up our alley, Jim.
Yep.
Coach, do you have any daily practices or rituals that you do on a regular basis to show up as the strongest version of Anthony Bonaventura?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is making sure I'm leading by example, right? And living my lifestyle the way it should be, so getting workouts in, continue to stay engaged because hey, when wrestling season comes around, I'm on the mat, my shoes are laced and they're taped, and I'm getting right in the trenches with the guys and wrestling with them still. I think it's one of the best parts of the job, so I gotta be ready to go. These guys stay young and I continue to get older, so I gotta make sure I'm ready to go. So definitely for me, running, reading, listening to podcasts, watching film. Final X was just in Newark, New Jersey, a lot of film to break down there, taking notes on that. For us, what we try to replicate is what techniques are working at the highest level, right? For us, if I took a Stevens wrestler and I put them in that situation, like in a Team USA wrestling camp, right? Not saying they're going to be most successful, but they're going to be working on the techniques that those guys are working on. So being competent in that regard, continue to add um, tools to the technique box, right? And we have a good foundation of what we want to do, but there's always film to learn. So just want to continue to learn, get better every single day. Just like I tell my guys, like there's a lot of ways you can get better every single day. You got to get 1% better every single day, whether that's watching film, whether that's cardio, whether it's getting on the mat. So those are things that I try to replicate in my life. And then the other big thing too, obviously sticking up with my hobbies, big racket sport guy. And so playing pickleball, playing tennis when I can, and getting that competitive edge out, which is good for myself, good for my family, because I love competing. And I don't compete on the mat, in that type of setting. I compete with my guys every single day when I'm in here training with them. But I need a little bit of competition outside that as well too.
Are you undefeated in pickleball like your brother?
If he said he was undefeated, then I'll say I'm undefeated too.
Who's winning the family pickleball tournament?
Again, this is what we're arguing, but I'm saying I'm winning it. G will say he's winning it, but no, I think I'll take the crown in that one.
All right.
Rich, that sounds like a coverage video that we need to make of the
Yeah.
Bonaventura
Turn that
brothers
into
battle.
into a little series.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anthony, what are you listening to right now? Music, podcasts, audiobooks? Are you reading anything?
Yeah, the book I'm on right now is called the Talent Code. That's what I'm reading right now. Forget the author of it, but a really good book, just diving into the different intricacies of what it takes to build talent. And really good book. I'm a big John Gordon fan, so I've read a lot of John Gordon books. Continuing to build my faith, so getting in scripture and making sure I'm building my faith, and in that regard as well too. So getting in scripture when I can. Um, Podcasts, I would say I definitely listen to, not all the time because Joe Rogan, those podcasts are so long, bits and pieces. It depends on the guest, but Joe Rogan. I also listen to. Uh, I was listening to. I'm trying to make Wrestling Changed My Life. I did listen to that podcast for a good bit. There's another one too that I've been Bashamania. Bashamania is one I just got on that train recently. He does a really good job. So Bashing the Brain, I've been listening to a lot and staying up to date with that. Those are probably the biggest podcasts. I've been listening to music. I listen to anything. I've actually been a big Shabuzi run right now, so I think he's been doing a great job. So I've been listening to a lot of Shabuzi radio, Zach Brown, Andy Grammer. We try to keep music on all the time. My kids love music, so we usually have something going on. And of course, you have to have the Disney hits on for them occasionally as well to keep them happy.
Excellent. Coach, last one we have for you is a lighthearted one to close it out. We just got done talking about the great debate of the best coffee shops and the best pizza places in Hoboken. So maybe it's a food, maybe it's a beverage. You got some young kids, maybe you're a closet Swiftie. Do you have a guilty pleasure?
Um, Guilty pleasure, I guess. I definitely am a foodie, just like my twin brother. Definitely a foodie. I mean, if I like something, I can eat all of it. I can eat a whole pizza pie. I could crush a whole gallon of ice cream. It's not good. So if I get in the mood for something, that's definitely my guilty pleasure is food. I would say pizza is probably number one for me, like cheat meal. If I had to eat something for the rest of my life, it would be pizza. And then on the sweet side, probably yeah, ice cream. Ice cream is probably the other one. So pizza and ice cream. Pretty typical
You-
wrestler
yeah,
answer,
no doubt, no
but
doubt. Are you just going plain cheese or do you have a favorite topping?
it depends on the place. I typically like if it's good chicken cutlet, I do like a good chicken parm slice. The chicken cutlet has to be good though. Uh, and so I would say that's probably my number one topping. Other outside of that, sausage, like good, like ground, like fennel sausage, I
Hmm.
do like on that as well. So those are probably my top two toppings. And I do like occasionally switch up with vodka sauce too. I do like vodka sauce.
Okay,
So
okay.
yeah.
All right. How about your favorite flavor ice cream?
So I'm a big this might sound silly, but I'm a big artificial flavor banana. Banana
Okay.
is like my go-to, and my wife laughs at me, but I do like artificial banana flavor. Um, I'm more of a soft serve, like custard,
Okay.
gelato type of
Okay.
deal. I don't, I do like hard ice cream occasionally. Like I like it like Reese's or something like that for like hard, but typically more on the soft serve side for sure.
Going to Rita's, you getting a little Italian ice with a little custard in the middle.
Rita's is big time. Another big one where I grew up, Ralph's,
Yep.
which I
Mhm.
think there's some in New Jersey
Yep.
now. So
Yep.
Rita's, Ralph's, big fan of those. There's also some really good down the shore like ice cream spots
No
as
doubt.
well too, right on the beach. So definitely love that. Carvel was huge on Long Island. So Carvel is a soft serve spot. Dairy Queen. Those are probably the four big ones. Yeah.
Air Bros get down with you, coach, for sure.
I
Absolutely.
love that.
Absolutely. Coach, thank you so much for your time tonight. Thank you to your brother for putting us in your direction. This was an awesome podcast, and thank you for holding down the fort at Stevens. We can't wait to follow the Ducks this season coming up and see all the great things you got coming down the pike.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you guys, everything you're doing. I think more podcasts should be doing that and spreading the good word for other programs outside Division One. So keep up the great work, guys.
Thank you, coach. We do appreciate your kind words, and we hope you get to enjoy summer. Maybe head down to the shore a little bit and enjoy that. Get yourself a soft serve. But we wish you the best of luck for the 2026 season, and we will be rooting for the Ducks. Ladies and gentlemen, make sure you are check all those links in the show notes. Follow the Ducks online. Give them your support. Tell them the Airey Bros sent you. We will be back tomorrow night with Coach Noddy from St. John Vianney. He'll be joining us. We're going to talk a little bit more wrestling, New Jersey wrestling, Shore Conference wrestling. So enjoy your evening, and we will see you tomorrow night.